احكي لنا شو هي يا لايف، انتم شو بتساووا؟ وبدنا نعرف منك انه يعني انتم دخلتوا على السوق متاخرين بعد عرب سات ونايل سات، ففي مجال لجروث بالماركت، فبحب اسمع منك بليز.
صباح الخير. Sorry, my voice is gone. I just struck with the flu yesterday, so please bear with me. Thank you for having me on this panel. YaLive is a fastest growing satellite operator in this area. We started commercial operation in 2011, Q2. And it's a joint venture between Yahsat, which is the satellite operator of Abu Dhabi, owned fully by Mubadala, a development company, and the renowned European satellite operator SES, covering almost 95% of the global world. YaLive has gone on a strategy of identifying the communities and languages. We looked into the market and we saw that because of our three separate individual beams, one that covers the West beam, which is the Southwest Asia, and another beam covers the West part of Asia, which is the traditional Middle East and Europe. We have identified via our research that we can actually attract communities with their languages to be able to penetrate into the market. There is a traditional players in the market that have been there for years and years, and obviously Amjad mentioned who they are. They have been enjoying the free-to-air market for some years now. What we wanted is to actually go after those languages and communities and assess the potential in terms of viewership and reach. What we have done over the last few years, and we feel proud of it, is we're becoming the #1 hotspot, for example, over the East Beam. And that's targeting the Farsi market, which has not been served fully. So we looked into the numbers and it really added up. And now, as we speak today, we have reached in less than a couple of years over 37 million viewers. And this is done and confirmed by the international independent Ipsos research company. And we have identified other communities and languages, and that ranges from the Kurdish community to the Afghani community. And lately we have actually, surprisingly, we looked into the Middle East and we saw there is an opportunity in the Maghreb market. The Maghreb content consumption is different than the other part of the MENA region. And we looked into the way we operate once we identify a market and the language and the community, is to look into local broadcasters and aggregators. And via that, we can fastly understand what is the premium content that they want to view, what are their habits, and how they consume it. So we have identified in the last few months an aggregator that we launched an immediate one-shot 40 channels across the Maghreb. The consumption of the Maghreb is a combination of an Arabic and French and foreign language. And that worked very well for us. So we are rolling into those markets in a step-by-step, and we feel proud of what we have achieved, especially on the East Beam side.
But how do you measure the audience? I mean, it's very hard, because you beam the satellite signal into different countries. How do you know who's watching you and in which language?
What we have done is we have commissioned Ipsos to do our research, primary research into the Farsi market across the East Beam. And what we have learned is that I'm okay. What we have learned from the research, the primary research, that the numbers, we were a bit surprised with the numbers, to be honest. We knew that we have really penetrated a lot of the households across that coverage. But to reach within a couple of years over a 37 million viewer is quite a resound figure, to be honest. And that takes other satellite operators years to achieve that. So we have developed a content lineup that actually reflect the viewing habits of that community. And then we back it up by a local and strong broadcaster and aggregators to bring in that content on board of Ya Live. And then it ended up creating that hotspot, and we are actually evolving it and developing as we speak today.
Well, you know, when we started this business a few years ago, we were always talking about first screen, second screen, and then they introduced third screen experience. And for us, always the first screen was a TV set. فبدي أسأل وائل وفارس at some point. Now, يعني أنتوا شو بتعتبروا هي الفيرست سكرين؟ هل هي شاشة التلفزيون ولا اللابتوب ولا الموبايل؟ ولما أنتوا تصمموا when you design your content, do you design it for the first screen or for the second screen or the third screen, depending on which screen do you think? I think Faris, you should think about it.
Of course, our business is based on the first screen, which is the TV set, and where it's called linear broadcasting, which is being watched through Nilesat or live stream online. But in the current changes that's coming up and we're living in, you have to redistribute your content on other platforms. So you have to be present on social media, you have to be present on your website, you have to create a VOD platform. So you have to cater the second and third and fourth screen if possible. Just because you would never know what's going to happen in the next 5 years. From a business point of view, it doesn't make any business sense to be online. I mean, it barely brings back the investment. But from a strategic point of view, you have to be there because the young kids are growing up. That's what they're using. That's what they're watching. That's what they're consuming. You need to be present as much as possible. We have done a lot of scattered productions, left, right, and center for second screen and third screen. Some worked, some didn't. We're hoping to produce more content for the online. But at the end of the day, our bread and butter is from the first screen.
And what do you think this is the case? Is that because like the ecosystem is not developed for online advertising?
Well, you know, Arabs are not used to paying any subscription fees or paying for content. We're used to watching everything for free. So that's a major obstacle for the online market. It's also an obstacle for the apps. You know, we're not used to paying for anything. So it's going to take a while for the next generation to adapt. And possibly, you know, OSN is trying to push as much as possible, but OSN is considered quite expensive. Netflix is considered cheaper, yet the content is not very relevant. They don't have a big library. So we need a flagship product or service provider that has all the content and can provide it with much cheaper price, at least to get the people used to the fact that they're going to pay $5, 5 JDs, whatsoever every month. And then I think the evolution will become faster and we can move to online faster.
Wael, obviously you've been very successful in publishing lots of content for the online market, and I think you later moved into producing things for the TV. So now when you think of a new product, when somebody comes to you with a new idea, do you immediately think that this is going to work for television or this is going to work for the mobile? What's your first screen?
لا هلا احنا as an online entertainment network publishers, our focus on the second screen, not the first one. لأنه basically هلا our DNA and structure and business model is based on online, and we cannot go and to an area is totally different ball game and it's totally different industry اللي هي linear. لأنه القواعد الشغل وقواعد خلينا نحكي البزنس بتكون مختلفة كتير، بس هم connected in terms of as an entertainment industry overall. So احنا لسه تركيزنا على ال second screen وال other screens و try to innovate بهدول المجالات. بجوز بأيد فارس إنه so far الأونلاين is not lucrative enough للcreators, especially إذا بنحكي إحنا عن premium content و high end productions. بس بخلال السنتين الماضيات أو السنة الماضية تحديداً في تغييرات بالاندستري عمالها عم بتصير. عمالها عم تقلب الوضع بشكل دراماتيكي. مش موجوده طبعا، يعني احنا ما بنحكي على نطاق الاردن، نحكي عن نطاق الريجن وتحديدا بالامارات. هلا السنه الماضيه زي ما كنا بنعرف في نتفليكس دخل على الماركت. هلا بالنسبه للبيد تي في، وانا مش كثير خبير في هذا المجال بالتي في، برضه كمان عم بيصير في تحولات جذريه، انه عم بيصير في عندنا زي تو ميجر بلاير بالبيد تي في كونتنت اللي هم بي ان و اس ان، وهدول كمان التنافس والكومبيتيشن بيناتهم راح يغير المعادله، وببين قد ايه انه نسبه الناس اللي عم بدفعوا مصاري فور واتشينج تي في كونتنت از ان انكريس. دخول نتفليكس على المنطقه از ا بيد سيرفيس برضه كمان راح يغير المعادله شوي، وفي سيميلر موديل زي نتفليكس اوريدي موجوده. ناس زي ام بي سي كمان هلا they are shifting، وزي حتى الجزيره they are shifting completely their budgets and their strategy toward online. فهذا بيعني انه more spending will happen على هذا المجال. and for the first time عمالنا عم نشوف مثلا بلاتفورم زي شاهد لاول مره عم بينتجوا special productions for شاهد، بعد ما كانوا only بحطوا البرامج تبعتهم اللي بتطلع على ام بي سي بحطوها على البلاتفورم تبعتهم. لا، كان هاي اول مره عم بينتجوا سبيشال برودكشنز فور شاهد، واول مره بيشتروا كونتنت ولايسنس مسلسلات فور شاهد اونلي تو ديستريبيوت. وهذا بيعطينا انديكيشن انه في تغيير وفي تشينجز ار هابينج بالاندستري. اللي لاحظناه احنا بشغلنا بدبي انه the amount of budget and the excitement from the advertisers from the brands is much higher على الاونلاين من قبل. وصار في اكثر خلينا نحكي الريليشن شيب بين اونلاين بلاتفورمز اند انفلونسرز. الاونلاين انفلونسرز عمالها عم بتزيد كثير، وبصير في كثير هلا عم نقدر نعمل a lot of utilization لهدول الانفلونسرز والاونلاين انفلونسرز لنشتغل مع البراندز والايجنسيز بشكل كثير اكبر. the amount of budgets اللي عمالنا عم نشوفها هلا عمالها عم تطلع is twice و 3 times الاماونتس اللي كنا ناخذها السنه الماضيه او نحصلها السنه الماضيه. So there is positive indications that there are something happening. I don't know قد ايه السرعه اللي احنا رح نمشي فيها. Definitely الماركت بتختلف من ماركت لماركت، يعني انا ما بقدر اقارن الاردن بالامارات بالسعوديه، ما بقدر اقارن الميدل ايست ريجن بمثلا يوروب وامريكا، بس things are changing definitely، وهذا بعطينا احنا شويه push تفاؤل انه we are on the right direction.
اوكي، بدنا نحط السؤال سوري للجمهور عشان نتابع انه انتم لما تحضروا فيديو سواء تلفزيون، هذا شو بتعتبروا الفيرست سكرين لإلكم؟ هي تي في سكرين ولا الكمبيوتر واللابتوب ولا التابلت ولا الموبايل فون؟ وات از يور برايمري سكرين؟ بتقدروا تصوتوا 3 مرات على فكره عشان تغشوا، هيك علمنا جواد امبارح. علق لحظه، مش خليهم يصوتوا اول بس 16 ثانيه. ايه واضح انه 71% من الناس لسه بيستخدموا التلفزيون يحضروا فيديو، 8 على اللابتوب و12 على التابلت و10 على الموبايل فون. فthis is good news لإلك محمد.
Indeed it is.
فانت يعني من هاي النتيجه هل بتعتقد هاي
I'm smiling more than before.
reflecting الواقع اللي عم بصير ولا لسه شو اسمه زائدا؟
I think
شو اللي جروث يعني انتوا is this a growth market الفري تو اير تلفزيون او حتى التلفزيون يعني الساتلايت؟
I think all the numbers says that there is a growth there, but obviously that growth has been affected by what our colleagues have just said in terms of the second and third screen and so on. And I think to really put things in perspective, if you need to look at the business model. Now the business model, for when you say that there are 70% or 71%, it means people are viewing that or consuming that content on TV. And advertisers are still actually putting a lot of money in that perspective, especially on the content like the international formats. That's been like the case in the last few years. So once that model, because we are in the MENA region, is a free-to-air model, and I agree with Faris that the OSN platform and the BN platform, they are actually gaining momentum, but it still is not a pay TV market. It's always been an FTA. And our model, the OnLive model, is based on free-to-air. We do not have a single channel on our satellites that is encrypted. This is unless specifically the broadcaster or the aggregator asks that we would like to be encrypted. Now, with the 215 channels, half of them are exclusive, okay? So it means that you only can see that on that particular platform. And I think it will, even though like Netflix gone into the market and so on and so forth, there are still some, if you like, some difficulties, especially when you look at some of the factors like the broadband infrastructure, which is really like, I agree as well with that it is developed, and you cannot compare UAE to Jordan or you go to Morocco and all that, because the level of penetration of that broadband differs. That's why you see the library of Netflix is so minimal in one market while it is so high in another market, and that reflects on the penetration of the broadband. But yeah, this is fantastic news. I think it will stay there for the years to come.
Well, the question will change with time, but the answer will remain the same because the screen is the biggest. So, I mean, maybe some of the 71% that answer TV screen is what they watch, but they're probably actually watching it from their phone. They're operating it from their phone and casting it to the screen. So I think the percentage will even increase even more, because the content is, where is the content coming from? That's the question that we need to ask. Because it doesn't matter if they're watching it on the screen, but they're actually getting it from online. You know, it's a different input. So that will definitely change. I think linear TV will die for sure in 10 years. It has to die. It has to become something else. It has to become more interactive. It has to become more interesting for the youth coming up. Except for, you know, live broadcasting, live shows. That's the only thing that will keep linear TV alive as long as possible.
I would definitely agree with Faris, لأنه it's not about the screen, it's about the infrastructure behind the screen, and more and more خلينا نحكي infrastructure تبعت online infrastructure بالعالم العربي is becoming better and better. خلينا let's say إنه the technology of live streaming مش إشي قديم. Okay, the live streaming has been on the internet long time ago, but recently, suddenly with Facebook and YouTube and all of these platforms introducing live streaming, this means a lot, which means TV soon will move their infrastructure from linear and satellite into a direct streaming online. وإذا بدك تحسبها economically, the cost of infrastructure بالنسبة للTV راح ينزل massively. إذا هذا الحكي صار أو إذا هذا الحكي صار موجود هلا في بعض الدول زي برجع بحكي UAE is already happening إنه في TV boxes through telecoms they are providing يعني الcontent تبعهم through online directly or through different other than the satellite. لأنه الساتلايت is really high cost to establish. وتخيل أنت قد إيه هذا مع اللايف ستريمينج والتكنولوجي الاونلاين تكنولوجي قد ايه راح يتغير. هلا في other factor بالنسبه لهذا السؤال انه في generation gap. Okay, I don't think this is the right generation to take our answer from, لانه if you look at the younger generation, وانا ما بحكي عن الجنريشن كمان الاصغر منا بشوي، انا بحكي عن a 10 year gap. اذا بحكي عن الجنريشن تبع بنتي مثلا، انا بنتي ما بتحضر تلفزيون 24 ساعة on YouTube و watching content online. الجيل 2000 خلينا نحكي 2000 و2010 وطالع when they come they're not going to use يعني راح يكونوا ب totally different mindset و totally different high، لأنه they are used to online content and they are used to the culture of online content and they are used to السليبرتيز والفانز والانفلونسرز تبعون اونلاين. يعني انا عم بتعلم من بنتي بشوف وات از ذا ليتست انفلونسرز طالعين اونلاين اوكي وعم بعمل الريسيرش ثرو هير يعني ايش بتحضر وايش بتعمل وايش بتسوي. This is very important.
I want to go back to issue you raised before about monetizing the content. I mean, there are I think two ways of doing it. Either for people to pay for the content عن طريق Netflix or Shahid or whatever these products. أو عن طريق الادفرتايزنج إنه through direct ads or product placement. Where do you see the growth is? Is it in the يعني is there now enough? Because the way I see it, the model that YouTube offered for at least for the region wasn't very effective in terms of monetizing the content. يعني أنت فارس you have 24-hour TV channel. I don't know how many hours of YouTube you upload every day. I mean, is it worth it to work through YouTube, or do you see that the growth is in the paid content in the future?
يعني وجودنا على اليوتيوب is a must صراحة. We've done wonders in that aspect.
So it's a مخسر?
No, it's a must.
It's a must.
Yes,
yeah.
for sure. هلا how you use it is how much return you can get. Frankly, up till now we haven't used it properly. يعني نحن we dump everything on YouTube, and that's not how you should handle YouTube. You should do it shorter, sweeter, straight to the point. But we couldn't do that because we don't have our own VOD system. Our own VOD platform should be launched within a month, and our online live stream that will be broadcasted through our own servers will be uploaded also, launched within a month. After that, we can start utilizing YouTube in the proper way. Yet, it's not feasible. Yani we're just preparing those platforms for the future. I think it will be more feasible if you get much more product placements, which is not very easy to do. Advertising in Jordan is still very low. We're a Jordanian channel with Jordanian content, so we're not very appealing for the Pan-Arab. So that's even harder. So we're trying to look at what content can we produce that's suitable for the Arab region, that can be marketed, promoted, and that's where we can generate some income. But for the short term, we don't see much revenues coming in. We see enough to fund basically the online department. But to generate money, I don't think that's possible.
Where do you see the growth is in the advertising side or on the paid content side?
I think it's a matter of changing perceptions that we see. It's what we're seeing now is advertisers and brands who are paying high are changing their perception toward خلينا نحكي how to deal with entertainment content in general. And it's not only for خلينا نحكي for online, it's also for online and TV as well. يعني the concept of product placement is really new in the region. يعني احنا مش صرنا 20 سنة و 30 سنة بنتعامل مع a mindset of how to do and to do product placement. The advertisers brands are learning along the way. ما صارلهاش الشغلة 5 سنين يعني and it's growing really well, and it will help both all the entertainment sector بكل خلينا نحكي هاي. It's not only just online. The thing that about paid content, it's about competition and market and how the main player will handle it. And for me, it is going to increase because we're starting seeing يعني seriousness بهذا الاتجاه. يعني الجزيرة عملوا أو الBN عملوا حركة كتير قوية إنهم سحبوا the best 2Kids channel into paid, from free to air into paid, and I don't think this is just spontaneous أو عفوية. More and more we will see the good content of entertainment will go into paid model, and people will force themselves to pay along with other things. People in the Arab world, they pay for content. In sports, they pay massively for content. فتخيل أنت a big player like BN عندهم sports already, and they are adding to it more and more variety of content. So people will see it valuable for them, okay, to subscribe and to pay for content. وslowly كمان حسب ال pricing models تبعتهم that way will introduce to the market. It also will determine how much increase of يعني how much people will adopt this kind of model.
محمد بدي أسألك سؤال يعني على علاقة local versus regional. يعني are you seeing the growth in your at least clients for channels who are producing or broadcasting local content or for the more pan-Arab regional content? That's the one question. The second question, like what type of channels are coming up? Are they like sports or entertainment? Where is the demand moving?
I think it's a combination of the two. There are local content channels that they have a very identified niche. And for example, when we launched the Maghreb community, there are those channels targeting the Algeria, the Morocco, and the Tunisian viewer. So this is their focus in terms of the viewership, and they're building that content to monetize it from advertising and product placement and all that. On the regional level, we have like the most watched, 70% of the most watched channels, I'm talking about the NBCs, the Abu Dhabi, Dubai TV, and all that, are on Ya Live, already on Ya Live. So it's a combination of the two. And I think the way forward is that, sorry, the second part of the question was on...
Where do you see the growth in which type of content?
I think content is still king, and I think it's the queen as well. And I think there will be, if you look at the major players like the NBCs, with their international formats and the sponsorship behind them, there is a lot of money involved in that, from the buying of the content in the first place and then bringing in the sponsorship and the advertising behind it. So this is still, I think, over the next few years, at least, it will be extremely popular because it's just still generating a lot of viewership and that monetized in the advertising. On the other hand, I think what we have learned, for example, from the Farsi experience or even the Afghani experience, whereby now once you actually establish a platform where there is a viewership on it, then there will be a lot of channels mushrooming. And the cost of that channel is actually going down and down throughout the last 5 years. You can actually get a channel from the desk over there, plug in an MPLS and just send it to the hub and it goes up, even if it's a slide or a video or what have you. So I think it's a combination of the two.
Okay, let's move the conversation. Faris, you've been in business for 5 years now, 6? Oh, yeah?
5.5.
Okay, what did you learn from your customer, things that they have told you that actually made you change things on the screen?
From what?
From your viewers.
Yeah, we're changing our content constantly from the viewers. Initially, we used to depend on Facebook and social media. Currently, we don't depend on that at all. I think it became too mainstream and it's bombarded with too many opinions and it's not very scientific. For the past 2 years, we've been depending on proper focus groups. Each show is taken separately and studied separately in order to come up with a conclusion and enhance the content. Along the way, on a daily basis, any comment that comes in, it's taken very much seriously. And we make sure that it's done. The problem is that we keep making, there's always mistakes when you're live. There's so many mistakes that keeps on happening over and over again. But generally speaking, صراحة, we would have been here if we haven't listened to our viewers and fans.